Dear human beings who honk in traffic jams, what exactly do you expect to happen? Oftentimes when sitting in traffic, the reason I honk is because some person next to me tries to merge without checking their blind spots. I'm just trying to save my bumper, but to others I look like in a hole. That the other people honking at different frequencies realize we could all coordinate and play a song with our horns. I drove for a living. I called it butt hour. 7 to 9 and 4 to 6 I would not drive. I would intentionally pick my days around the hours. Lunch, breaks, etc. It made it less frustrating and a safer experience overall. I had a guy try and force his way between my truck and the guardrail. He lost because it is not my truck, and how do you explain hitting a person on the right side when it's in the right lane? LMAO. Someone honked and flipped me and my family off because we wouldn't move during traffic. When we finally got to a point where all the cars were out of the way and we all started moving, he drove around us, sped up, jumped in front of us, rolled down the window and flipped us the bird and sped off like a maniac. Ironically, the whole time he was honking at us cause we wouldn't move, go. He wouldn't go around us. Why? Because he was blocked by cars on the other lane too, we all were. It's a traffic jam. He just decided that we were the reason for the traffic around us and in front of us, because we were simply in front of him. I think some people might just be mental, there's just no logic in some driving. Because even though both lanes are slow, someone has decided that my lane is slightly faster and has felt the need to cram their car ahead of mine with no turn signal or other warning and with mere inches to spare, causing me to slam my brakes and making everyone behind me brake, making traffic worse for everyone so they can save a few seconds. That is why I honk. Literally, every time I've done this it's because I'm readjusting myself in my seat and end up hitting the horn. People don't seem to realize that when they are in a traffic jam, they are part of the traffic. Generally I am doing it to prevent the idiot trying to change lanes into me from actually hitting me. It usually works. They expect to get to the airport earlier, so they can stand up as soon as the plane lands. I don't do it, but I like to imagine they think they're like Moses parting the Red Sea. 3. I had a moment where me and my family were stuck in traffic when we were getting out of a parking lot. There was a shoulder next to the inside lane. Someone tried to use it to get past the traffic. Just in front of him the shoulder ended, and no one would let him back in the lane. He was stuck there for a while. Talk about instant karma. I love how the guy 3 cars back obviously knows that the conditions to enter the intersection are safe for all traffic. If you don't honk, how do you expect the traffic jam to clear? This reminds me of when my kids were little and we were in a line of traffic and the light turned green. Mom, the light is green. Go, and I would answer, would you like me to drive over all the cars in front of me? I expect the car to start floating and fly over the traffic jam. And #X200B, and #X200B, and then get abducted by aliens. Well, obviously for everyone else to get out the way, my journey is far more important than yours. For people to get off their phone and realize they have room to move. DUA. It's a medical condition, I don't know if I'm spelling this exactly right, but I think it's called fluffing dumbass syndrome. I expect the butt in front of me to put down their darn phone and catch up to the traffic, go through the intersection. Way too many people start looking at garbage on their phone, and kinda forget to drive. It's the mating call of the douchebag. It depends, sometimes I honk to let the other driver know they can merge, 2 short taps sometimes to politely let them know to pay attention, toe short taps sometimes to let them know they are causing a dangerous situation that I am not in, 1 very long honk sometimes to let them know they have created a dangerous situation between me and them, 2 very short and 1 long honk, attention, and move away, sometimes because they are an asshat, jackalope and need to be told so, 1 very long honk with a raised hand and WTF face. Well, everybody knows that all traffic jams are being caused by one jerk who's blocking the road out of spite. They want to hear you honk and they won't move until you do. I expect it to work like a Thanos snap and cut the traffic in half. Probably the same people who honk the instant the light turns green. Because it's London traffic and I'm riding a motorcycle. A loud one at that. Still I'm invisible apparently, so I honk to let idiot people know that I don't have the intention of dying or sustaining serious injuries because of their negligence. Source: have had so many close encounters with idiot drivers, specifically foreigners, who seem to think that they are the only people on the road. The worst are the Eastern Europeans. No regard for traffic rules and they'll pick a fight if they cause you an accident. It's happened. And lo, Chernobog 44 did sitteth in traffic on the eye of 696 trapped, he could moveth neither forwards nor backwards, and on the sides left and right his passage was also blocked by the infernal steel machines piloted by his enemies. He spaketh to the Lord his prayer, O Lord, please allow me, thine most humble of servants, to progress with due haste to mine home so that I may watcheth the Netflix and partake of thine most holy delicacy, the frosted mini wheat. Concluding his prayer, Chernobog 44 hit his chariot's horn like Gabriel's horn sounding, to send his prayer up to the Lord. 3 times 3 his horn was sounded, for 3 seconds each. He horn did ringeth out to the heavens, and, hearing his prayer, the Lord did influence the other motorists. To the curbs they fled, opening a pathway for Chernobog 44, like the parting of the Red Sea. Thus did Chernobog 44 make it home with speed and thanks for the boon his Lord had granted him. Here endeth the tale. My favorite is when someone gets really upset about your following distance, so they jump into the carpool lane and angrily gun it and then slam on the brakes 20 yards up. Giving a following distance is better so you can just coast instead of stop-go. The butt up front who's rubbernecking because they want a good look at the carnage and taking photos with their phone will haul their ass. I expect you to not drive the wrong way through the lane I'm driving in because you need to make a turn 25 yards down the road now. If you tailgate, I'll just drive slower than Jeffrey Epstein in a school zone. How is there even traffic though, like just drive? You know how when you stub your toe, you usually say something aloud like, ow, or motherfluffer. If your sweet old Nana is in the room, maybe you don't worry her and try to find a more appropriate way to release your feelings of pain, like waving an arm or making funny breathing sounds. Sometimes people in traffic are like that. If they're angry, they feel the need to express it. They're expressing their anger, their frustration, their rage. We've all been there. They want things to move faster, but they're not in control of any of these elements of their life at that moment. They choose to do it with something that expresses that. Their horn. They can be heard. And they hope to get a reaction that changes the world around them, or at least lets them vent that stubbed toe style pain. It's like when you're angry and want to punch something. Except you're in a car and you have a horn. Most people breathe heavy, scream, do what they need to do. But they realize that the horn is a tool to communicate important information, not express feelings. You know how, when you're at line at the supermarket and there's someone at the front taking forever. And there's the one person about 5 people back who's in a rush and says something like, what's the hold up? Most people know you can't do anything about the circumstances. Everyone's feeling the same thing. One person is just going to say something about it. That's traffic. That's people. Put enough of them in a room, someone's going to have an undesirable reaction to the situation that's quite loud. I drive 115 to 145 in traffic every day in Los Angeles. I'm usually honking at someone doing something naughty or stupid. You're just not seeing what I'm seeing, so you think I'm honking at traffic in general. The entrance is 2 cars per green and it's your turn, but you don't go because you're illiterate? Honk. Changing lanes without signaling? Honk. Crossing a solid white line? Honk. Smoking a bowl? Honk. Sitting at a green because you're on your phone? Honk. You're drifting into my lane because the freeway is curving and you're on your phone? Honk. Actually, if you're on your phone at all in front of me, I'm gonna lay into my horn just to get you to pay attention. Uber driver letting their passenger out in a traffic lane? Beep beep for you and the passenger you're putting at risk. Trying to turn from a non-turn lane? You bet your butt you're getting a fluffin' honk. Blocking the intersection because you drove into it knowing full well there were cars on the other side and you weren't gonna make it through I would ram you if I could, but we'll settle for a honk. People drive like garbage and there are 3 ways you can deal with it. Do nothing and wait patiently for their fluffery to end, pull some dangerous stupid garbage yourself to get around them or punish them, or wait patiently for their fluffery to end while letting them know their fluffery is observed . The horn exists to alert other drivers of dangerous situations. People don't use it nearly enough. The vast majority of drivers on the road should never be allowed to operate a vehicle, and it's because of idiots like these. They will create dangerous situations and never accept responsibility for it. Just letting out some steam. It's cathartic. Noise comes from the front of the car. I honk my horn and everyone pulls aside to let me by. Every time. What? Had a guy lay on his horn as I was in an intersection waiting to turn, all while cars were still coming through the intersection from the other direction. Okay bud, I'll just turn into someone causing a serious accident so you can make it to your destination a minute or two faster. Seems reasonable.